Now, the centers of learning, unfortunately, of our Sanskrit are outside the South Asia and Southeast Asia. The most prestigious journals are in the West. The most powerful academic chairs are in the West. Some of the best libraries, some of the most prestigious appointments are in the West. Most Sanskrit traditionalists I've talked to would rather go on a trip to the West and get an appointment there, become a visiting professor. So the power structure is there. This means that the prestige for who speaks with greater adhikar, authority, who controls the research dollars, who is the gatekeeper of distribution of knowledge, who makes policies on what is right for what is the right kind of a Sanskrit approach, the lens. These things are not necessarily under the control of the people who are insiders, because there's a history of the colonial history of controlling from the outside is well known. People in post-colonial studies have done a lot of work on understanding and exposing how this control of Indian civilization, Indian history, interpreting Indian religions, interpreting Indian knowledge was taken over as part of the colonial process, because when you can go to people and say, I am gifting you your history, I am gifting you what your tradition was which you don't know, people feel very happy and they're in awe and they're saying thank you. And that's how colonialism works. So decolonization is more than just getting political and economic freedom. India got political freedom, and now thankfully India is also on its way of getting economic freedom. But the intellectual freedom, the cultural freedom, the academic freedom is still to happen. And that decolonization requires doing the sort of things that Krishna Shastriji said. And therefore, I'm really happy that he's here and he's helped me in my project in many, many ways. So this decolonization is a process of us doing Purva Paksh on the dominant schools that have been studying us, that have been telling and re-exporting the knowledge back to us to tell us what is what. Now you see Sanskrit being appropriated into computational linguistics. Computational linguistics is at the cutting edge of computer science for natural language translation. And what they are finding is that Panini's language, Panini's grammar is a good engine in which various languages can be mapped and used to translate across back from each other. Now all this is fantastic. But in order to make the Sanskrit simple enough for the new sponsors, who are all Western big companies in computational linguistics, to make it acceptable to them, understandable to them, they've also simplified, they've reduced the kinds of pronunciations, for example, the intonations, the character set is less to make it more computer friendly. So Sanskrit has to become computer friendly in order to expand. So they will say, we are doing you a favor. Look, your language will go everywhere. But that's like taking yoga and collapsing it into exercise and saying, look, we are doing you a favor because it's going everywhere. So this idea of, this is a double-edged sword. When you give adhikar to others, they will take it, digest it, take it further, but they will also modify it and distort it. So this is, I give the example of a tiger who eats a goat and digests it, and whatever is useful about the goat becomes part of the tiger DNA, and what is not useful, he throws it out, and there is no more goat left. There's only a tiger, stronger. Now a foolish goat would say, you know, this is good for us because the tiger can take us further. We sit in the tiger's stomach and we can have a good joyride. The reason he's foolish is that there is no more goat left anyway. So it's not that you are sitting in the stomach. So it's not that Sanskrit sitting in the belly of the West will go further, because then it won't be Sanskrit anymore. It will have been digested into something else. Like a large amount of Indian civilization already has been digested into things that are known as Western, but they're not. That's another project I'm doing, is to excavate back our civilization, which has been digested and which is no longer recognized as ours, even by our own people. Even by our own people.